awakened on my birthday earlier this month by a phone call informing me that my favorite living singer, Marvin Gaye, had been shot dead. Many Radio 1 listeners shared my feeling of great loss and have communicated it in letters and poems. It is for them, and in tribute to a giant talent of our times, that we rebroadcast 2 hour-long interviews recorded in late 1976. I spoke with my hero in the Carlton Tower Hotel in London. I was initially disappointed to find his speech slightly slurred and subdued. But then I noticed that his low-key approach was concealing a treasure of historical and anecdotal material. Marvin was so forthcoming that Radio 1 abandoned its initial plan for an hour-long show and aired 2 separate programs. We hear the first today. The second will follow this time next week. It's back to 1976 we go. Like any dutiful young interviewer, I began at the beginning.
I believe you started off in a group called the Rainbows. Is that correct?
Well, I'm sure Don Covey enjoys that. But I don't think they accepted me as a member of the group. And that sort of became, I tried out for the group, and Don likes to say, oh, yes, Marvin was one of the... But he turned me down. So I auditioned for the Rainbow. Would be a far more accurate statement.
So therefore, the Moonglows would have been your first hit at the big time.
Yeah, I would say so. In fact, I'm sure I'd say so, because that's what it was. And we were singing at that time with a group called the Marquis, and not doing very well. And Harvey thought that our sound was very closely related to the Moonglows sound of the time, and that's why he chose us to fill in for the members who had departed.
Actually, when Berry Gordy was starting Motown, didn't Harvey Fuqua have a financial interest in one of the labels?
Harvey had more than a financial interest in one of the labels, but that's another story. Yes, he and Gwendolyn Fuqua, Berry Gordy's sister, were married, husband and wife, and they had a record company called Tri-Fi Records, which Berry Gordy ultimately bought out, and Tri-Fi merged with the Gordy label.
Now, was it Harvey or Anna who brought you to Berry?
Well, I would imagine it was Harvey and Gwen and Anna and Providence. I wouldn't go for an audition. I stopped auditioning when I was a very young artist. How dare me not audition too as a young artist? But I refused to audition. Berry had to hear me at a nightclub because I wouldn't audition for him, and I think he thought that was rather rash of me. So he finally said, maybe I should go hear the guy who won't audition for him.
Was Sandman the first single?
Probably was. I think a thing called Let Your Conscience Be a Guide was the first thing. It was a horrible song and record. Berry wrote it, by the way. He'll probably say I wrote some horrible ones in this next interview, so that's okay.
Your first mentor with the successful records was William Stevenson, who did not turn out to be one of the major figures of the Motown era at its peak. What was it like working with him?
Mentor, is that anything like tormentor?
That's up for you to answer.
I don't know that word, but anyway.
The first 2 records you did with you, Stubborn Kind of Fella and Hitchhike, were very exciting vocals and arrangements, and they featured interplay vocally between you and a backing chorus. Was that a style which you brought to your sessions, or was it one which was presented to you?
Well, I must say, with all the humility that anybody can have, making one of these ego-filled statements, that was all my genius at the time. What can I tell you? I'm not gonna. Except, you don't get a lot of chance to express it either. I mean, not publicly. Your name doesn't go down and all that, but you know, I would imagine I helped the producers as much as anybody. I was young and raw, but we worked together. But I had a lot of ideas, and they used them freely, and I didn't mind.
We sometimes hear of people in the Motown family of artists doing background work on the other people's records. Were any of the backup singers on those records, for example, Martha Reeves, as I once heard?
I think that I can say with great warmth and feeling that I am the only Motown artist on the entire label in the stable who has had every act background singing on some occasion. And I can just name the records for you, but it turns out that the only act that hasn't background me on occasion, and the only ones that haven't, I've had some members of the group singularly sing on some of the stuff in some instance, and the only act might have been the Elgins, but every major act, I would think, has appeared in a background capacity, and I don't say that, you know, with anything on it, but in those days we all worked with each other with love, and I worked just as hard on the drums and the piano with every other act. But I like that distinction. I was thinking about that the other day, you know. The Supremes, the Temps, Gladys Knight, Miracles. Some part of every group has participated on some record, some recording of mine, especially in the early years of the 60s.
Pride and Joy was actually your first top 10 hit, which Stubborn Kind of Fella and Hitchhike had not been able to attain. Did that change your life professionally at all?
No, Pride and Joy didn't change anything. There was still a struggling period during those years, and I don't view them with a lot of happiness, you know, because there was a lot of pain. There was a lot of pain. Trying to figure being young and not knowing the business a great deal, trying to figure things out, and nobody told you a lot. Nobody tells you a lot nowadays, you know, it's part of the business. You can't talk a lot to the exploitables.
Did Smokey Robinson bring you out much, as he did work with you on two of your big ones, Ain't That Peculiar and I'll Be Doggone?
Smokey saved me during a time when I was non-productive and not even thinking about producing, or not even giving producing myself a second thought, although I was writing strong, but I didn't have a great deal of confidence in my pen at the time because the giants were around, Holland Dozier and Whitfield, and Smokey was a legend even in those days. So it was difficult for me to have a lot of confidence in my own pen. And Smokey saved me during a period that I needed some records, you know. He saved me.
Does he know you feel this way about him?
Probably not. But that's true. He doesn't solicit my feelings, so he would know. We're good friends, and we respect each other a great deal. So I would think that he knows. He senses, you know.
It was in 1964, I believe, that you had the double-sided duet hit with Mary Wells, and this was the first of the duets that you would have through the years. Whose idea was that, to team you up like that?
I wasn't very happy with a lot of the decisions that were made about my career in the early years, but I should have been, as it has proven out, and very appreciative, in fact, as I am now. But at the time, I was most rebellious to a lot of decisions made like those, or a decision like that. Nothing personal, of course, my singing partners, but I wasn't very happy, of course. I think they were great decisions now. But there was Berry Gordy's idea.
At the time, I remember that Mary Wells was the only female artist, and you were the only male artist who actually had greatest hits collections on Motown, so perhaps it was strictly a commercial decision.
I'm sure it was, as most decisions are rendered by a record company, except those who aren't commercial-minded, which I don't know any of those.
Are you not satisfied with the actual songs themselves? Say, What's the Matter with You, Baby?
Well, I wasn't satisfied with my performances on them. I couldn't sing in those early years. I think I'm 50% improved as a singer now. And I didn't think I sang very well in those years. Of course, I was purer because I was younger. And you could probably sense that there was something happening with Marvin Gaye's voice, because every now and then a little purity would come through and he'd say, well, that wasn't bad. The kid has a chance. But I think I sing much better now than I did in those days. So I wasn't happy with my performance, no. But there was nothing personal with regard to Mary Wells. She's a great girl, and she should have been popular even now and maybe singing even now, but poor management.
And you also had solo hits, late 63, Can I Get a Witness, and then later on, Baby Don't You Do It, with Holland Dozier Holland themselves, who you previously have mentioned. I was wondering, did you feel like you were being shifted from one producer to another?
Well, I not only felt like I was being shifted, but I felt like I was being puppeteered, or whatever expression might be. And I got into quite a few arguments. I remember one where Brian Holland and I got into quite an altercation because I wasn't ready to go down and sing. You know, I should have been ready because the time was set and all and everything, and I should have gone, but I was doing something else that was of little consequence to what was really important. And I remember he went and told Barry on me, and Barry came and, he chewed me out pretty good about it, and I got mad. And Barry got mad, and we all had a vicious argument, and it was awful. And then we nearly had a fight, and Brian and I nearly had a fight. And
Do you remember what the song was?
Yeah, it was, I'll Take Care of You. I don't know if you remember it. I'll take care of you. I'll Take Care of You. It was a good song. Eddie wrote it. What it amounted to was, I wasn't so mad at Brian because of that, but that was a very necessary thing because it catapulted me into my own individualness, and it made me very independent of them, and it caused me to become conscious of the fact that I had some ability to produce. And that's when I started seriously thinking about producing myself.